Alright, hey guys, here's homework number 32, graphing polynomial functions. So here's number 1. So to find your guys' degree, you guys have to add the exponents of all your guys' factors. So this is degree 1, 3, 4, and degree 1. So add up all the degrees, you guys. So 1 plus 3 plus 4 plus 1, and you guys get 9. So first one, the degree is 9. The leading coefficient, you multiply each coefficient of each factor together. So the coefficient for this one, 1. Coefficient for this one, 1. 1, 1. So 1 times 1 times 1 times 1, and you guys get 1. So the leading coefficient is 1. For your guys' end behavior, so your leading coefficient is positive and your guys' degree is odd. Positive, odd, you guys, for end behavior is down and then up. And your guys' y-intercept, you set x equals to 0. So everywhere you guys see an x, it now becomes a 0. And if you guys see, ultimately, you're gonna multiply this 0 to everything. So 0 times everything, you guys, is just 0. So y-intercept, 0, 0. Now, to find your guys' zeros, you have to find out what is your 0 for each one of your guys' factors. So, for this factor right here, you guys, what would make that a 0? If x was equal to 0. What's the multiplicity? Look at the power, it is 1. So multiplicity of 1. What would make that a 0, you guys? If x was equals to -4. So x equals -4, multiplicity of 3. Because you guys, the degree is 3. What would make this whole thing go to 0? If x was equals to 3. So x equals to 3, multiplicity of 4. And lastly, what would make that 0, you guys, if x was equals to -7, multiplicity of 1. So at multiplicity 1, that is a cross. Multiplicity of 3, it's an odd, so that's going to be a slide. And multiplicity of 4, you guys, an even multiplicity, that's going to be a bounce. So now, let's get our end behaviors, you guys. So down and then up, and then let's graph all of these zeros. So x equals 0, that's 1, 0, -4, 3, and x equals -7. And now we can finally graph. So I'll drag this over a few to the left. Okay. We're drawing, and when we're approaching x equals -7, you guys, it's a cross. So you guys are going to cross that 0. At x equals -4, you guys, we're going to slide. So look carefully. Horizontal line, and then just like so. You draw a slight horizontal line curve at that 0, and then continue on. The next 0 we're approaching, you guys, is x equals 0, so that's going to be a cross. And then at x equals 3, you guys, that's going to be a bounce. So you literally bounce off of it. Bounce off. And then connect it to your guys' other end behavior. And there is your guys' answer for number 1. Okay? Number 2. Highest degree. Add up all the exponents together for each factor. This one, 3. This one, 2. This one, 4. So 3 plus 2 plus 4. So that's going to be 9. Leading coefficients. So multiply every coefficient of each factor. So -3 times a 1 times a 1. And you guys get -3. So that is your guys' leading coefficient. Now, end behavior. Your leading coefficient, you guys, is negative, and your guys' end behavior, or your degree, is odd. So negative odd, you guys, that's up and then down. Y-intercept, again, when you guys plug in set x equal to 0, when you plug in 0 into all that, you guys, it's just going to be 0 and 0. Alright, 0. So what would make this 0, you guys? That would be if x was equals to 0. Multiplicity of 3, because it has a power of 3. Here, what would make that a 0 if x was equals to negative 6? Multiplicity of 2, because look at the power. Here, x would have to equals to 12. Multiplicity of 4. So we have everything you need. So end behavior up and then down. Now draw your guys' 0. So at x equals 0, at x equals negative 6, and at x is equals to 12, which will be somewhere over there. So I should actually drag this over here.
Why are you so warm in every classroom?
And then when you guys draw this graph, now we are going to graph this. So starting from the left, approaching at negative 6, it is, oh, I forgot to write the bounces and crosses. So even multiplicity, you guys, are bounces, and if it's an odd one besides 1, it's gonna slide. So what do we have here? At negative 6, it's a bounce, you guys. So we're going to bounce off of that one, just like so, just like a bouncy ball. Next, we're going to approach x equals 0, so that's a slide. So here, you guys, it's going to be a slide. So everyone look, like a little horizontal line right there. Okay, so that's a slide. And then when we approach x equals 12, you guys, that is a bounce. So at x equals 12, you guys bounce off of that. And there is your guys' graph, okay? Number 3, this has a degree of 1, so add up all the degrees together, right? 1 plus 4 plus 1 plus 3. I don't know why all of these are 9, just kind of strange, but this one's 9 as well. Leading coefficient. So this coefficient plus times this one, times this one, times this one. So negative 4 times 1 times 1 times 1, negative 4. So again, end behavior, leading coefficient is negative, and your guys' degree is odd. Negative odd, you guys, is up and then down. So this is going to be another up-down scenario. Y-intercept, for the sake of this lesson and this homework assignment, it's 0, 0, you guys. Okay, find your zeros. What would make this a 0 if x was equals to 0? Multiplicity of 1. What would make this a 0 if x was equals to negative 7? Multiplicity of 4. What would make this 0 if x was equals to 2? And what would make this a 0 if x was equals to negative 1? Oh, sorry, multiplicity of 2, or x equals 2, that's multiplicity of 1. X equals negative 1, multiplicity of 3. So, multiplicity of 1s, it is a cross. So, cross, cross. Multiplicity of 4, which is an even, that's a bounce. Multiplicity of 3, which is odd, that's a slide. So, let's draw all of our multiplicities. Or our zeros. X equals 0, x equals negative 7, x equals 2, and x equals negative 1. Okay, so let's draw. So start from the left. Approaching, negative 7, you guys. At negative 7, it's going to bounce. So bounce it like a bouncy ball. Bounces off. Next, we are going to be approaching negative 1, which is a slide. So at negative 1, you guys, it's a slide. So a nice horizontal line. Now you gotta bring back, right? Because now we're approaching x equals 0, you guys, which is a cross. So you cross right through it. And then back at x equals 2, you guys, it's going to be a cross. So you cross through it. And your guys' graph should look something like that. Okay, one last one and then we are done. For 4, okay, add up all the degrees. 6 plus 4 plus 5 plus 3 of all of the factors. So that's 18. Now multiply the coefficients. 3 times 1 times 1 times 1. So 3 times 1 times 1 times 1. Coefficient of 3. So leading coefficient is positive, and your guys' degree is even. Positive even, you guys, is up, up. And if you guys set x equals 0, your y-intercept is just going to be 0, 0. Okay, so your guys' 0 for the first one is going to be, when x is equals to 0, multiplicity of 6, because that's the degree. The next one, here, what would make that 0 if x was equals to -2? Multiplicity of 4. Here, if x was equals to 1, multiplicity of 5. And here, if x was equals to -5, multiplicity of 3. So at our even multiplicity, guys, those are bounces, and our odds, those are slide. It's only across when it's multiplicity of 1. So, and behaviors, up and then up. Let's draw our zeros, or graph them. X equals 0, x equals -2, x equals 1, and x is equal to -5. And now let's do this. Starting from the left, x equals -5, you guys. That's gonna slide. So you guys, this is what a slide looks like, right? Next, we are approaching -2, which is a bounce, you guys. So we're gonna bounce off of here like a bouncy ball. At x equals 0, it is another bounce, you guys. So we're gonna bounce off of there. And then lastly, guys, at x equals 1, that is a slide. Nice horizontal line, and then slide off, and it's gonna match up with your guys' end behavior. So that's all for problems. Hopefully this helps you guys out, and good luck, okay? Peace.